and then very blatantly talked about what you did as though it was okay on stream to who knows how many thousands of people is bad. It is beyond bad. It is actively one of the worst things you can do as a pet owner. Everybody knows Keffals. Even though Keffals isn't particularly big, Keffals is, and I feel like this has only been going on for like a year. She is a streamer from Canada, very often mired in controversy. I think quite literally has not gone a day without being involved in some sort of controversy, basically since the first time I saw her name. I always bring it up because it's the one I remember. She ratioed Matt Walsh, and then she became a permanent part of my timeline as she got into fights with Kiwi Farms, and eventually led a fucking brigading attempt. I don't even know what you would really call it, but just basically a mass organized effort to shut that website down, or at least get it to be dropped by Cloudflare, cripple it permanently as far as websites go, which was effective and good for her in doing that. I always thought Kiwi Farms is a trash website, even when I'm a fucking 4chan guy. Oh no, be scared. Not really anymore. I barely even can stand to get on the goddamn site anymore. But I think of it fondly when I think back to like 2009, 2010. Kiwi Farms is always trash. It's a garbage site. It's basically the follow-up to Encyclopedia Dramatica. It's a site that was created to document information on and harass individuals so that you could basically speed up the harassment process against them. Normally, you would have to learn things about people on your own. You know what I mean? You would have to go to like reputable sources, figure shit out, decide for yourself if you like did or did not like that person, like a goddamn adult. Websites like Kiwi Farms, there's still other ones out there. They basically they streamline that process by giving you all of the worst possible information about somebody, as well as all of their social media, their entire like history of stuff. So you have a nice, fully poisoned drink of well water before you decide to start hating somebody. I have heard people argue that it is good for things. I don't give a fuck. I literally, I think it's funny they got shut down because it's something that they would try to do. It's like you live by the sword, you die by it. That's fucking hilarious to me. And that it was somebody that they were trying to pick on that fucking got him. Triply hilarious. Amazing. Funny as fuck, in fact. Get fucking dunked on. I don't give a shit. You're free speech. Fucking do eat an ass. You're Kiwi Farms, all right? You're not some great orator in the history of orator. You're a Kiwi Farms person. You post anonymously. No one fucking cares. But I digress. After that, Keffals was sort of just like thrust into the limelight. She was involved in basically she did a full scale run of all of the things that can happen to you as a creator online. She was doxxed, she was harassed, she was swatted, and other stuff, I guess. I don't know. A lot of her information about her past and who she is, whatever the fuck, came out. And so her content, as I ever even approached it, started and ended with a consistent bit of just basically, at one point, I think I remember her talking about not herself as a subject. And then for a while, I think I was watching her play Raft, that's the game. And then she did some breakdowns of old debates. That was not particularly interesting to me. And now all Keffals does, and I've watched like a bunch of streams for the past few weeks because now I make myself watch other people's streams I wouldn't normally watch as just like basically a professional consideration to figure out what the fuck is going on. I mean, I watch people's streams. I would not otherwise watch. Keffals is not by far the least interesting person that's on there. I won't even name them, but right, left, I've watched a bunch of different streams. I don't like her current content cycle. I don't think it's particularly good. I don't know what value it brings. It's uninteresting to me at all to constantly see somebody relitigating facts about their past over and over and over and over again, because she's not a particularly interesting person, to be honest. And the stuff that's happened to her sounds like every person, half of the people that I knew growing up in fucking like lower middle class, working class neighborhoods, I've heard all of the stories before. There's no interesting takes on them, and it doesn't seem like it ended in a success story. So it's basically just like, hey, if I pull this Band-Aid off, I will bleed. And then like 900 people going like, no shit. Like, yeah, watch. Like, okay, this, I don't know if this is technically self-harm or not, but it's got that vibe. There's a sort of sickness around it, which I'm not like, oh God, don't ever watch her. Be mean to her. If you watch Keffals, like, you're a bad person. No, I'm just saying, like, the vibe is bad. The vibe seems like it is not very in the vein of growing as a person. I don't know what you get from it if you watch her content. I don't know what you learn. I don't know how you grow. It just seems like, you know, like trying to get cozy, but with a blanket that's covered in water and mildew. That's my opinion. If you disagree with that, you're not going to say anything that can convince me otherwise. But the main point of this is I was actually extremely upset, to the point where it knocked me out of what I was doing. I had her on right ear, you know what I mean, while I was doing work, I think, over the course of the break, just a little minor video editing type shit. And she said something that absolutely needs to be addressed, and it is definitely the beginning of the absolute end of me ever paying attention to her as a content creator again. And it's one of the few things where I would urge people to, I don't even know, actually, I would not urge anyone to do anything. Don't do anything. It's always the rule, by the way, of my stream. Don't fucking fight anybody's fights for me. Don't go and talk to other creators generally about, like, whatever I said to them. You can share my videos if you want, but if we have problem, let me talk to other people that I'm talking about myself. Yeah, actually, you know what? I'm going to hit it up from here on out. So, boom. This is content warning time. You can pop off. So we're going to talk about animal abuse going in here. And it starts with this, which I was watching her talking about, I guess her ex-girlfriend at some point in her life. I don't know. I don't care about the context between these two people. It's just what is specifically being spoken about that needs to be addressed. Because, and this is a thing with me, I never had small animals. I never had small animals when I was growing up. My family was always around dogs and stuff. I never was around any until I met my wife, and she had our first rabbit that we had together. It was really her rabbit, Jacques. And from there, like, I learned so much about animals. I didn't know. I was a dog guy. Dogs get baths, they get fed. And we'll get into more of that stuff, but I'm going to play this clip, and then we're going to get into it from there. Hopefully it's at the right point.
Class PhD student living at the poverty line, who now has to fight to clear her name in the court of public opinion. I don't have an audience or experience in this, so people's patience and good faith is greatly appreciated. She continued on. As long as unverifiable claims about pets are being made, Keffals let her favorite guinea pig drown to death in like 2 inches of water. There were multiple summers where she let 4 of them roam in their own waste for so long, we'd get massive fruit fly infestations. For my part, my cat is still alive at 13 years. She's healthy and happy, and most definitely won't die of neglect. So, let me just address this real quick. I didn't drown my guinea pig. My guinea pig was sick, and my guinea pig passed away in an accident. She was in the bath, 2 inches of water. I got a call I needed to take. I stepped out for 1 minute. And when I stepped out for that 1 minute, I came back and she was dead. She wasn't in enough water to drown. I screamed and I cried because I lost a pet that I had since they were a baby. And I think it's incredibly telling that the response here is not to say, I did not abuse my cat.
Okay, so I think this is sufficient. I don't think she says anything particularly interesting after that. And we are going to go ahead and just hop over to just any website. So, Keffals killed her guinea pig. There you go. That's the headline. It's she admitted to it. This is a guinea pig. If you guys don't know what a guinea pig is, this is a guinea pig. As you can see, they're small. 2 inches. If this is an inch, that would be surprising. They drag around the bottom, and Jesus Christ, something just exploded outside Louisville. They are small animals. Small animals are extremely susceptible to heat variation. That's very common. Rabbits specifically, but any small animal cannot get cold unless they have some sort of hardiness that prevents cold from harming them. They can't get wet, or they can literally go into hypothermic shock fast as shit. Consider the difference in size between, say, a heavy coated dog that's an outdoor dog and a polar bear. You know how, like, you probably wouldn't let that dog in the Antarctic? The larger the animal is, the more fat layers it has, the more fur it has, and the more developed that fur is, then it can be in water. If it doesn't have those, it can't be in water. If you try to put almost any small animal in water, they immediately don't want to be in there. It can be traumatic for them because their brain says, you don't belong in water, you're a non-aquatic species. If you put an otter in there, the otter will be fine. Otters belong in water. Rabbits, guinea pigs, cats, a lot of dogs will try to kick their way out of it. And it's a natural survival mechanism. I would not leave a baby, as people are saying in the comments, in water, an inch of water. You can drown in 2 inches of water is the most common thing. As you can see, this guinea pig is that close to the water. If it's worried at all, if the water is kicking around because it's trying to get out and a little wave hits its face, that guinea pig can drown that quick. It's not a whole protracted thing. It's almost instantaneous because its lungs are the size of fucking raisins. You know what I'm saying? I am trying to be chill about this. I am getting mad again. This is one of the few things where somebody's talked about something and I've actually been unfathomably pissed about it. So a point, we created the segment content warning because I talked to my wife about this and she's like, I literally don't want you to say it. And then I eventually had to go over it with her because I was like, am I fucking crazy? And then once she heard the details of it, she's like, no, that is bad. My wife has had guinea pigs. All right. Tons of them. We have 3 rabbits. My wife has had hamsters. I think she's had gerbils. I can't remember. She's had almost all of the little animals. The thing is small animals are not all of the same species because they're tiny. They are all completely different species of animals with different requirements. They have different needs. They have different capabilities. Rabbits, for instance, can go into immediate shock by getting in water at all, especially if it's cold, because their metabolisms are so high. They are obligate herbivores, right? They're lagomorphs. They're not even rodents. They are a whole different. They can go into shock if you get them particularly wet. We have 3 types of rabbits in our house. One of which is a double lion head rabbit that we do have to give what you call a butt bath to because she has a genetic abnormality that makes hair grow on her constantly. She doesn't have normal length hair. It's extremely long. And so every 2 weeks or so, we have to give her a haircut, therapeutic haircut, and give her a tiny little, what you call a butt bath. We check the temperature of the water. It takes 2 of us to do. My wife holds the rabbit while I hurry up and clean just her feet and her back end. And then we wash her clean and then literally blow dry and towel her down so that she doesn't get hypothermia. The possibility of having a guinea pig. Guinea pigs are so small that their bellies basically always touch the ground. Left in a human water container, which is going to be, as you've probably experienced in your life, slick, difficult to scrabble out of, not at all accommodating to a small animal, because if you can be left in the water, more than likely Keffals, I suppose, didn't want the guinea pig to be able to jump out of it, so just left in a fucking drowning pool while Keffals went and took a call. That is inexcusable. That is not that is not something that should have been glossed over. That is, you killed your pet. I don't know how to say that. You should feel bad about it for forever. If you see this clip and you want to do one of those like crocodile tears, like, I can't believe, I'm having a bad day, I'm just a little birthday boy. No, you killed your pet, which I'm not going to hold against you forever because, that's not my place to do, but that you didn't know that you killed your pet and then very blatantly talked about what you did as though it was okay on stream to who knows how many thousands of people is bad. It is beyond bad. It is actively one of the worst things you can do as a pet owner. Now, I'm saying this not just because I'm fucking hyper heel for animals and stuff. I love animals. There has also been, I tried to find the clips of it, and this was one of the first things where I was like, well, Keffals probably needs to be told that that's not an okay thing to do, is that she said that she wanted to start up a all guinea pigs live stream with multiple guinea pigs. Now, her person said that she had 4 of them. Just because you have a lot of animals or have animals does not mean you actually care about the animals. That's just a thing I have to say. There are hoarders. I take this stuff, I get very upset about it. When I was in the newspaper business still, I had a bit of a reputation for going after animal hoarders and making them very well known in their local paper, to the point where they would call me and threaten me. And I didn't give a shit because I'm not going to let anyone on your block not know that you're abusing animals by having 50 of them live breeding in a house full of feces. I'm not saying that Keffals is doing that, but if her person said that she has 4 guinea pigs at the time, was neglectful with one enough to leave it in an inch of water where it could very easily, and did drown, and the other ones, she's just not cleaning up after them enough to keep them clean, which is a thing that you have to do with guinea pigs. My wife says it's 2 to 3 times a week cleaning their cages for one. And who knows how much cage, how much roam, how much play area, where they were. I don't know. That I don't know that is strange also. Because if I had to tell you guys about a time I harmed my pet, it would be the whole stream. And it would be me being very explicit about what happened. If Sweet Cheeks had an accident, we would be getting into play-by-plays of every single little thing that happened, and it would end with me trying to figure out how to make it never happen again. I would not immediately go into, and the worst thing about this was my ex-girlfriend then shared a picture of my cat, of her cat, that's still alive, and I was very upset about it. I wouldn't do that. I don't think that it is okay to discuss this in the manner that Keffals did. I'm going to finish this out with talking about small pet care, and I'm going to do the streamer thing and link some resources and some charities in this when I start talking about stuff. But I just want to get this in and be explicit about it. There is no reason anybody should buy guinea pigs if you don't want to just have a pet. Like, it should be it's a responsibility, first off. If she is actually considering buying them, I think I forgot to finish this thought, to have a 24-hour guinea pig stream, that is a bad thing to do. You should not have pets to make money off of. You should just not buy animals in order to film them. It's not a thing that you should do. That I'm articulating it that way. I don't care if they're also your pets. I have a camera on the ground. Sweet Cheeks leaves. Everybody has commented. I didn't even know the camera or the bunny goes in there. Like, he comes in because he wants to visit. He goes to the whole rest of the fucking house. We're just lucky enough to have him come and hang out. But if you're going to start, if I was trying to do a Sweet Cheeks stream, you know what I mean? And like, I bought bunnies in order to, I don't even want to say it out loud because that's such an offensive thing to me. There's already people out there that you could probably see a 24-hour stream of their area, and they are people that run rescues. There's rescues everywhere. They need help. If you are going to be giving money to anybody, attention to anybody, you should give it to small animal rescues. They are some of the most non-taken seriously and overburdened people I've ever known in my life. I'm going to end this with saying Keffals is 100%, because it doesn't go higher than that, wrong for how she discussed this, for not knowing that that was wrong to do, for talking about it in such a flippant way, and for not talking about the pet that she had as though it was... Did she even say its name? Like, I'm not going to play it again because I don't want to get back into it, but like... Is that... Okay, so like, in general, that said, I am done with Keffals as a creator. I'm finished. If she says something particularly interesting, you know what I mean, and I have to cover it, I have to cover it. I'm not going to relitigate this. This isn't going to be one of those fucking clips that everybody puts up where I'm, you know, like, I always go back to this because I'm upset about it kind of thing. But this is definitely, between bad content and unethical content, I think I'm done. There's no value whatsoever in me turning her streams on. I stayed subscribed to this point just so that I made sure I didn't accidentally lose access to something, because who the fuck knows how YouTube works. I'm going to move on. I'm going to be taking the segment content warning down, and I'm not going to be talking about that aspect anymore. But I am going to be talking about small pet care relative to these things here in just a second. I'm going to get this off. But I think, I feel like I've said all I need to say specifically in regard to her. And yeah, that's it. That's basically it. I feel like you guys can tell the difference in the rhythm of how I'm talking versus when I'm having a good time. This is actually something that's quite near and dear to my heart. And it's especially, my wife was like, you have to talk about it. Like, you have to get into that, because you can't have people discussing things that way and not have people fighting back against it. This will be one last little bit of a thought, because it's still... a lot of people don't take small animals seriously. I think I've said this before in this same segment, but they are still living creatures. They deserve respect. If you don't like them or you don't respect them as pets, don't be around them. You just fucking pretend like they don't exist and go the fuck away. But if you are the kind of person who's like, I want to have a pet, and I want to have a small pet because I have only enough space for a hamster or a gerbil or a rabbit, it is incumbent on you as an ethical human being, as a decent fucking person, to do all of the research that you need to do before you adopt that pet. You need to understand that it is a whole responsibility. One of the most upsetting things regarding, still going back to Keffals again, is she is not a person who is in a stable circumstance ever. Since I've heard about her, in and out of rehab, mental health facilities, whatever, that I don't give a shit about her personal problems because I don't know her and I'm not judging her on those. But if you know that you are going to be in another country, right, possibly being institutionalized, having to go to rehab, having to be away from pets, the thought of having animals that you could potentially not take care of is insane to me. I get worried because I know I'm going to get old one day and die, and I'm sad about the end part of my life where I'm going to have to figure out how to be around animals while not being able to have them in my house, because I don't want to die and then have my animals be at risk of not being taken care of it by me. You know what I mean? Not approaching that conversation with this level of intensity is strange to me, and especially doing it on the internet where people can see. It was very upsetting. I'm sorry that I'm bringing the vibe down. The vibe is down. Don't worry. We'll get into Shapiro, Shabibo, and all of them in a bit. But I am going to wind this up. I'm going to promise not to say anything else about Keffals, but we're going to talk about small animal care in a positive way. This is going to be non-content warning stuff because I do want people to know these things. So, guinea pigs. Can guinea pigs get baths? All small animals can get baths in a therapeutic sense. The vast majority of them don't need baths. Most animals on Earth don't need human baths. And most of the animals that we give baths to, we do for our sake, not the animals. Animals have grooming instincts built into them. Small animals in particular are some of the most fastidious. Our rabbits clean themselves 10, 15 times a day, it feels like. Guinea pigs are no different. Rats, mice often are very, very, very clean. Their leavings, because you have a nest in the house, will not smell particularly well, but that's incumbent on you as a human being to remove. The only time where you need to give animals baths are, like I said, generally in a therapeutic sense. Particularly small animals, it's dangerous to give them baths. The smaller an animal's heart is, the more likely it is to suffer literal shock trauma. Like they can go into shock and have like little baby heart attacks because they get cold too fast or because they get scared. You can literally scare rabbits to death. They can have heart attacks and pass on. So like be chill around rabbits. If you have a house that's full of, I can be loud like this, but if you are like firing off like fucking guns and shit, you can actually scare rabbits like all the way out of their minds. Or if you have like a really aggressive dogs. That's why if you have domestic rabbits, you are supposed to keep them inside. Outside hutches for animals that are domestic animals are generally bad. If you are not like, and I hate to say it, if you're not raising them for food, you know, and it's a purpose-built hutch, you're just abusing your animal. Like, bring it inside. You don't need rabbits outside in the hutch in 3-degree weather when they're domestic rabbits. Why are they there? So that you can walk outside fucking 2 or 3 times a week and stare at them? They don't know you. My rabbit stays in our house. He jumps up on our fucking bed and stuff and like cuddles with us and flops around. That's the best part of the rabbit. Being able to, I don't know why you would just keep your fucking pet rabbit outside. Just don't have it. In that case, same with, I was reading on these, people keep guinea pigs outside. I don't know. There's no climates I've ever lived in America where that's safe or okay. Guinea pigs need pellets and stuff because they need vitamin C, I think it is. My wife was going over this with me earlier. They need a lot of care. They are domestic animals. They need to live in your house with you. That's the point of it. It's a pet. If you're going to leave it outside, leave it all the way at the place that was before your house, because that's the best place for it. You don't need it. I don't care about anybody's mom, mother, daughter, sister, brother that had it in a different way. I don't care. But you can give animals baths. There's very appropriate ways to do it. You should have a small animal vet that sees to your animals, that you can ask if it's necessary even to give them a bath. We went over all of that stuff a million times before we ever even tried to give our double lion head a butt bath, which is still, like I said, basically like a fucking medical treatment level of attention with her. She just literally can't clean herself enough because her hair is finer than a normal rabbit's hair, and it's like 4 inches longer, and it grows almost to full length within 2 weeks. It actually gets so long that when we got her, she was literally blind because her hair grew down in front of her face so thick she couldn't see. So, like, we have to give her haircuts and stuff. I don't give haircuts or baths to any of my other animals because they clean themselves. If you do, this is the guinea pig. This is one of these articles. It's a Small Pet Select that I double checked. I mostly have it here because piggy cute. Piggy cute. They are little dudes, little fellas, right? They bump around, make noises. They like to hang out. The best part about guinea pigs, from what I understand from all guinea pig owners, is when you open your refrigerator and they learn that noise, or a treat bag, and then they start and try to like, you know, grease you for an extra treat or another little bit of whatever deliciousness that you hide in your fridge. This goes over basically everything that I said. In addition, guinea pig baths, proceed with cautions. Don't leave them. I know it says somewhere, but like we said here, damp hair can keep their little bodies too cool, and that chill can set the pig up for an upper respiratory infection. They can get colds, bronchitis, and stuff, and because they are smaller and because they are prey animals, they are more susceptible to diseases like that. Their bodies just don't try to fight them off the same way that like omnivores and advanced, hyper complex, larger organisms like us do. Well, humans are gigantic, disgusting petri dishes that live for an extremely long amount of time to allow our brains the most amount of potential to give us like an evolutionary advantage. That's the only reason that we're immune to shit, is because we're giant, disgusting disease factories. Most other animals are like clean. They live a couple years and then they fucking die of random stuff, and they die very quickly. If there is a person who is not cleaning up after their guinea pig enough and they're getting dirty and stuff, they can get sick through that. If they are not cleaning up after them and they are instead resorting to baths because the guinea pigs are walking around in their own waste, there is a high likelihood that mistakes can happen. It's even with our rabbit, we're extremely careful about it. Mistakes could happen, and you could accidentally get your animal too cold, or they could take a snoot full of water and get sick. It does not take a lot. If you ever seen Sweet Cheeks, when he's going like that, that's his normal respiratory rate. It looks like, you know, this fast. That's how fast they breathe. So imagine droplets of water hitting you, you know, and you're like, and you cough like that much. They cough, and so they can run out of breath instantaneously. It can be extremely dangerous for them. Also, once you're done, you know, you can't keep them in the water. The water's going to be just the right temperature. It can't be too hot. It can't be too cold. Because it's so shallow, it will cool off very quickly. So you got to, boop, clean them off, and then go and dry them and hit them with a whole fucking, like, hair dryer and stuff. Don't turn the hair dryer heat on high. You just want air going on them with your warm hands, keeping them warm so that they can mostly get that fluff. The hair being fluffy keeps animals warm. When it's wet and tracted against their body like that, that actually makes them considerably more cold. It actually serves the opposite purpose, especially if they're not an aquatic species of mammal that has adapted hairs like polar bears or otters that will, you know, if they're not constantly slicking themselves in oil, which a bath will actually defeat the purpose of anyway, it will prevent them from shedding water. They're going to absorb that water, and it's going to give them hypothermia, because they're going to be basically as cold as you are if you were naked plus wet clothes, right? That's where they are, because they don't have clothing, and they can't tell you that they're cold. They'll shiver for a little bit, and then they could run out of time extremely quickly. So, yeah, I wouldn't submerge a guinea pig in water. No, absolutely not. It should be next to nothing. Next to nothing. Not even 2 inches. The suds when we give our rabbit her butt bath are higher than the water from the dish soap that we use. We used the Dawn that's safe. We talked to the vets with it. They suggested actually that we should do it because it's a little bit safer for her than having to constantly cut out the mats and stuff that she gets because she can't groom herself, literally. I'm not going to get back into it, but that's an important thing. A very important thing to understand, especially if you're going to have small pets. I feel like I'm responsible to say that because I don't want people out there thinking because I have Sweet Cheeks and he's so adorable that you could just have a rabbit. Oh, Tyler's got Sweet Cheeks. Sweet Cheeks is cute. He found him in a trailer park. Yeah, like, we rescued a rabbit. He's a whole bunch of work. Sweet Cheeks cost us upwards of like $200 to $300 after we got him in care. We had to get him de-ticked. We had to get him dewormed. We eventually had to get his incisors removed because he had maloccluded incisors that would not wear down at the right rate. And the doctor was just like, yeah, you can either bring him in for trimming, but I think it's a bad idea. I think you should just get his incisors removed. And so now we have to cut up all of his greens, and he eats a lot of greens. We get fresh greens for all of our rabbits. We have 3 of them. Not all of them like each other. We have Marcel, who lives in the back. Marcel, he has to be kept separate because he's a male too. And he gets a little upsetty spaghetti with Sweet Cheeks, and so they have to be kept separate. So you have to have all of this space, you know what I'm saying, for these people, or for these little guys. Rabbits had hemorrhagic fever recently, which was a like $40 inoculation, 2 inoculations that you had to get every rabbit because it's an overnight death from like a sort of type of hyper blood flu that rabbits can get. So it's a serious responsibility. And it's not cheap just because they're smaller. You're going to have to get little areas. We learned more and more and more as we've gone on. Like, we've started with certain types of cages, and then we found out that a larger cage on the ground, shorter cages on the ground are more conducive. The rabbits like them better because they don't really climb, they hop. So they don't like going up angular surfaces. We found out because that was a cage for a different type of animal that we repurposed. And so now we have those. We figured out what kind of surfaces they like to ride on. We've double checked like the types of hay that they can eat. We have tons of hay. We have to get it from different places. We have to watch their diet so that they don't get fucking rabbit diabetes from eating overly sugary Timothy hay or overly sugary alfalfa hay. They can only eat Timothy hay. It's a whole thing. You know what I'm saying? And that's just them. Chinchillas, you can't get wet at all. You guys ever heard of a chinchilla? The steel to make you feel like chinchilla in the heat? You can't get them wet because they will just perish. They don't ever get water baths because they're from like fucking Peru or whatever. They get dust baths. You actually have to get a little bowl full of dust and they roll in it. Different species animal. Looks cute, small. They have to have gigantic cages, massive cages, because they have to have enough room to roam, and you can't let them really out of their cage unless you have a house that's really set up for it, because chinchillas climb. And they will climb out of your fucking house if you don't have it set up from the top down to keep them from fucking leaving. They also need it to be much warmer, if I remember correctly, because they're used to a higher temperature. It's a very intensive thing. If you're like, just hear how much I'm talking about this stuff. It's very important. You know what I mean? Is it true that buns enter loaf mode where they transform into little loaves of bread? Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I don't have any pictures on hand of Sweet Cheeks doing that. But he does it. He actually does it here all the time in front of the camera. You guys just can't tell because he sticks his ass right in front of the camera because it gets warm and he just enjoys that. But yeah, they go like literally this shape right here, like this with 2 little ears coming up. And they're the best. Comfy little guys, little fellas. If you are upset or interested in animals and you want to support some people that do good work with animals, this is our local small animal rescue, the Pipsqueakery. We give them money. If like when we donate to a charity, this is the charity we donate. I know all of the money goes directly to the people. We have run animals for them. I volunteer with a thing called the Bunderground Railroad, although I think they bypass our entire area now. I haven't gotten a call in a while. To go and transport animals from rescues to final homes and stuff. Places like this are great because they will not let just random people adopt animals. They're very, very cautious about hoarders and stuff. And these guys do just great work. There is a former lawyer. Well, I guess she's still a lawyer. It's a lawyer and her husband. And she does this full time now. You can find out more, especially on Facebook.com/the Pipsqueakery or Pipsqueakery, whatever it is. I'm going to put all these links in the episode description. If they're not in there by tonight when I get off, they'll definitely be in there tomorrow. It's a great place. They're just out there. They've been building up since they started. They've taken in capybaras, chinchillas, I think. I think they have a beaver or had a beaver, woodchuck. I don't know. My wife's all about it. But they do very routine. They bring in, what these rescues do, by the way, too, is they bring in animals that from hoarding situations and stuff. We actually went out 2 years ago to a park where some dipshit asshole fucking dropped a bunch of breeding rabbits, Easter bunnies they call them, dropped them out off of the road in a park just like in a park in the woods, which domestic rabbits are not capable of living in. Domestic rabbits were genetically engineered by human beings to be indoor pets. They do not have the survival skills of a wild hare or a wild rabbit. Their legs are shorter, their bodies are stockier and heavier, their fur is considerably softer, which makes it less durable. They are the wrong fucking color to blend in with their surroundings. The native rabbits do not like them. Sweet Cheeks has little boops on him from when he was fighting with / possibly mating with wild hares before we adopted him. And it's very dangerous out there. So we went out there and we caught like 8 of them. They take these animals in, they get them back to full health, tick treatments, worms treatments. They do surgery on these animals. They like therapeutic surgeries for broken legs, missing legs. Some of them get injured. They get attacked by hawks. They do great stuff. Great stuff. And I hate the thought of people using their YouTube platforms, boosting their profile with animals, and it being something that they don't take very particularly serious. It gives me just the same vibe as, like the Ace Family type shit. I really don't like it. So if you go forward from this and you have a thought, because I'm not going to tell you don't watch Keffals content anymore. I'm done with it. You can watch whatever you'd like. All right, don't worry. We're not going to get into the content warning stuff anymore. But if you go over there, and I would just keep this in mind, and you're like, you know what? I'm going to donate $5. I just really want you to reconsider the $5, $10, $2, 25 cents, or even just the eyeballs and the share that you might give to Keffals. And I suggest you give it to the Pipsqueakery or your local animal rescue, small animal rescue instead. And that is where I will wind up and end this segment. Very intense. Don't worry, we're going to get back to regularly scheduled goofballery here in a moment. But yeah, that is it. I'm going to talk to chat now. I love you guys. I'm sorry if that got intense. Thank God for the content warning. Come on, camera, come back. Whew. Gotta drink some water. I gotta calm down. I stayed chill. I stayed chill.
And subscribe. Like and subscribe. Like and subscribe.